In today's video, we're going to talk about how the brain can play tricks on you and your memory when you've suffered from childhood trauma. Hi, I'm Dr. Brett. I'm here to help make a difference in men's lives by allowing them to deal with their shit and become the best versions of themselves. So let's talk about childhood trauma and how the brain can actually help you survive, but also cause you some long-term issues as well because of that survival mode. So as most of you know, if you've watched my videos in the past, you know that I'm a survivor of child abuse. At the age of 6 and 7, I had a neighbour take advantage of me over a period of time. And this is where it starts to get tricky, because when this sort of trauma happens, the brain goes into survival mode. And so I don't actually remember how many times it happened. I know it was more than 3. I know it's probably less than 10. I don't remember exactly what was said or how it was handled, but I've blocked a lot of it out. I can't remember a name. I can't remember the face, but I've got an image. There's certain things I don't remember about it, but there's also things that are very vivid, both emotionally and physically, about what happened. So the brain allows you to survive this sort of trauma by shutting it down and blocking it out. And that's a great way to survive and get you through the next phase of your life. And that's what happened for me. And I was able to survive and bury it away. Now, the other thing that happened with me, I don't know how well I was groomed. I don't remember exactly what was said, like I mentioned before. But the problem with my behaviour that happened around it, I covered it up. I felt like I covered up what had happened. I didn't tell anyone. And so that there in itself made it even more complicated and more, I don't know what the term to use is, but it made me feel like I was probably more to blame in the long run, because I felt like I could have stopped it. And this is where the brain plays tricks on you, because when you look back when you're 20, 30, 40 years old, with this older, mature brain, you look back and you think that 6-year-old child had your current brain, your 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old brain. And that's not actually the case. And so you're thinking when for me, when I was 20 something and things started to really bubble up and started to come to the surface about what happened to me as a child, all of a sudden I was thinking, well, I could have done this, I could have done this, I could have done this. I know better. But as a 6-year-old, you didn't. And I was probably groomed in a way that I was made sure that I didn't tell anyone. I didn't let anyone know what was happening. It made me feel like I was in the wrong if something went wrong. But as a 20-year-old or 30-year-old or 40-year-old, you're thinking, I should have done this and I should have done that. And so I felt like I probably could have stopped him. I probably could have acted differently. I could have told someone. I could have changed what had happened. And that's what I was thinking when I was going through my adult years for many, many years. And I know logically that doesn't make sense. And I was always, what did I say to myself? It's not logical to think like that. But emotionally, that's how you felt. That was the layers that was actually buried deep down inside me. And that was the problem, because I knew logically one thing wasn't right, but emotionally it was exactly the opposite of how I felt. So at the end of the day, I felt like that I should have done something more, and I basically in the day blamed myself. I felt like I was to blame about why it happened. And again, logically I know that's not right, but emotionally it's so ingrained in you, that's what you believe. And so it makes it really tough to break away from that shackles about what had happened. So as a result of how I felt that it was my fault and I was to blame, I felt the guilt, the shame and embarrassment, especially by not telling anyone or covering it up and hiding it from people. Because I actually hid it. There's once or twice I got caught and I hid it because I was embarrassed or ashamed and I felt I was probably to blame. So I was probably groomed in that way, but like I said, I don't remember, because the brain plays tricks on you. So when in the long run things start to come out and you start to bubble over, you actually have to deal with the situation properly. You have to deal with your emotions. You have to deal with it. So for me, I went through all this heartache and pain for years. It caused me to have depression. Like I mentioned before, a couple of bouts of anxiety a couple of times. And those that period of me struggling for all those years, I went and saw counsellors and I went and saw psychologists. And what happened was they helped me deal with it to a certain point, to a certain level. But then I went backwards again. And I told my folks, and I was euphoric for about 4 days. It really hurt them, but it released a burden from me. And you have to share those burdens sometimes to help you grow. And it might hurt you, the people who you tell. I know that it really hurt mum and dad significantly, and they probably still struggle with it at times nowadays. But because they weren't able to protect me. But I needed to get off my chest so I could actually release the burden to help me grow and move forward. And each little step has helped me to move forward to where I am today. But what really changed for me was actually going off and doing some proper processing. And so I could actually, rather than blaming myself, I could refocus my blame onto the actual perpetrator. And even though I've never met him, I don't know who he is since it's happened. But what has changed for me is I got to actually deal with it properly in a controlled environment where I got to release all the rage and anger, and I took back my life. And that's what it's boiled down to. I didn't feel like I had control of my life. I felt that he controlled everything from what had happened over those years, and it affected me in so many ways. And I got my life back because I took control back from that person through these processes. And I really urge, if you're out there and you are struggling with life and you have got some issues that's buried down, it keeps bubbling up and it's causing you to have depression, anxiety, anger issues, addiction issues, whatever it is, you have to get to the crux of the problem. You have to claim your life back. Because if you don't, it's just on a downward path to nowhere, and it's self-destructive, and it's a continual cycle that will just continue to hurt you and your families and your community. And you have to be the best person you can be, and you can't do that when you've got something that's weighing you down. So you have to break those shackles, get rid of that anchor, and actually free yourself from the pain, the anguish, and the fucking control that these wankers may have had over you, or whatever happened to you in the past. You have to get control and take it back for you. So please, if you need to talk about anything or want to get in contact, please personal message me. If you want to make some notes or send some messages on the Facebook page, please share your stories of positive feedback about how you've changed your life. I'd love to hear from you. And share my videos. Make sure we get this out to as many men as we can, because they deserve to hear the message. They deserve to have the best life and the best families and the best future possible. So until next time, peace and love to you. Bye.